Hello, my friends, and welcome to a space where pleasure is treasured, relaxation is not what you think it is, and life firing on all cylinders is what we're about. If you are somebody who wakes up every day asking for way more, consider this your happy place. Welcome to the Creation of Living podcast. I'm your host, Heather Nichols. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creation of Living podcast. I am coming to you today from Opatija, Croatia. We are about to start the Joy of Business facilitator training tomorrow, and I'm so looking forward to it. I'm really happy to be here. Really happy to, just super grateful actually to get to be a Joy of Business facilitator. Joy of Business, if you're not familiar with it, is a specialty area in access consciousness. And it really, for me, is the synthesis of so many things that I feel like I've always known in my life that I didn't have the words for. Nobody ever invited me to acknowledge that I actually knew. And also that, like, a lot of times I kind of thought I was maybe just kind of in fantasy world about that. When I took my very first Joy of Business class, which was probably 12 years ago at this point, I was so excited. I just couldn't believe that somebody was saying something that made so much sense to me in regards to business and creation. And I was just like, more, please, more, 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 more. Finally, business didn't feel like this weird thing that was outside of me. It didn't feel like this thing that I needed to be a completely different person in order to have ease with. Like, it felt like it was something that I could embrace for me, as me, and know what I knew and know what I know still about it. And since then, I actually did the very first Joy Business Facilitator training in 2015. I waited for it and waited for it and waited for it to be available as something that I could facilitate. And so this will be my 11th year, and I just it's been such a major contribution to my life, and to get to facilitate classes, Joy of Business classes, and just classes around business and creation it's actually incredible how much it expands my business all the time. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today on this podcast is there's so many different tools. There's just so many different conversations and tools that we have in Joy of Business around creation, around working with staff, around working with money, like all these different aspects of creation and business. And I was actually doing a class last night, a Business Done Different class online, and we had this beautiful conversation about relaxation and space. And I would add like the energies of like silence and stillness. And I was like, that would be a really cool topic for a podcast. Because, and it's something that I weave through a lot of what I do and a lot of what I facilitate, and a lot of what I offer. But there's something so powerful that shows up when we allow ourselves to do the very opposite of what we think we need to do to get things moving, to get things happening. And that is to chill out, to have some space, to have some relaxation. And there's a tool that I haven't heard a whole lot of people talk about it as much these days in Access, but it's a very, very powerful tool. And it is to take an hour a day and a day a week just for you. And I actually last year I did a training that was called Strategic Coach, and different body of work, and really some really cool stuff, really brilliant stuff. But that's one of their, kind of one of their principles as well, is to have days that you designate in your schedule that are, they call them free days. So you have these days that you designate that are days that are for you, and they're not for your business. You're not working. You're taking care of your personal life and your personal world. Uh, but from an access perspective, it's like this day a week, um, is really, and I would say like at least a day a week is it's for you. It's for you to enjoy, for you to have fun, for you to, enjoy being alive, and hopefully you enjoy your business too. I mean, I really enjoy my business, so I never feel like I'm working. But these days for me are so different because one of the primary things that I choose when I give myself an hour out of a day, or a few hours, or a day out of a week, or many days, is to have some time where I've got silence and stillness and like a different kind of relaxation. And we talk about relaxation a lot. I think I've even done some recent videos and podcasts about it. I don't, I never remember what I've done before, but but the thing about relaxation from this perspective is it's an energetic space. It's not about I'm going to chill out on the couch all day and do nothing. It's very much an energetic space. And so relaxation can be like, for me, I've been walking a lot. I've had 2 days here in Opatia where I'm just taking days for me. And there's a lot. Opatia is on the ocean, and there's a pathway that runs along the sea, kind of everywhere here. And I've been walking and walking and walking, and so that to me is deeply relaxing. Being outside, going for a walk, moving my body. When I live in Colorado, so there, I walk, I hike in the woods, and I love to walk, and I do it as much as I can. So it's, that can be relaxing. It's not laying down watching Netflix, although Netflix can be great too. But the point is like doing something that creates a lot of space for you, where you can actually step into a different level of silence and stillness. And those two energies are really, really important. We had a conversation on the class last night where one of the participants was sharing, that she had had some time with her family and just really chose to, have some space, have some time, chill out, and, spend some time alone, which can be really, really nurturing for a lot of people. Something that I think probably those of us who really enjoy having time alone probably don't, give ourselves the gift of that quite enough. And I find it to be very um, deeply recharging to be by myself. Um, and she was just sharing, she took this space for herself, and after that, it was like her business just started to grow in a different way. Like things just started to show up in a different way, and she was attributing it to that space that she was able to take for herself. And this is something that I love, the magic of that conversation, and the magic of the gift of silence, and the gift of stillness, and the gift of relaxation, and what they create for our creative universe. And um, I've noticed for me that when I take space, when I have, basically, if I look at like a day just for me, what that looks like is I don't have anything on my schedule. And today actually is one of those days for me. I don't have anything on my schedule today. And I was like, oh, okay, I do need to record a podcast. So I will do that when I do it, when it's, time to do it. And yeah, so it's like, but it's, so there's still things that you might do, you might be engaged with. But for me, one of the things, and this is just my take on this. So every tool is like an invitation for you to pick it up, play with it, see if it works for you, see how you want to explore it, um, and have a just see what it contributes to you, and find out what you know about it, because everybody is going to have a very different sense of the tools. And so for me, one of the things is having the space to actually do nothing, to just be like, I wonder what I'm going to do next, you know? And sometimes I might spend a half an hour being like, I'm not really sure. I'm just going to lay here and enjoy the silence, or yeah, now I think I'm going to actually get up and go for a walk or go have some lunch or whatever. But there's this beautiful creative flow that can emerge from that space that I love so much. It's so nurturing to me. And one of the things that I've found is that when I have that silence, when I have that stillness of the space, of my activity, not necessarily my body, but my activity. When I have the stillness, the silence, the space, nothing is, I've taken any sort of external pressures off. What occurs is I get so creative. There's a lot that emerges from the silence and the stillness and the space. This is where creativity for me really flourishes. And I sometimes forget this, that I need to give myself this time and space to just find out what's going to come, you know. And when we do this, it's like it's like you start to activate these energies called the elementals. I've talked about this before in the podcast, but the elementals are these energies that we can harness, we can use, we can, have in our lives that um, like stimulate uh, magic and miraculousness and our communion with the universe and creative possibility and flourishing. And stillness is one of them, silence is one of them, relaxation is one of them, peace, allowance, like not being in judgment, having vulnerability, having a sense of creating a future. All of those things they're energies that as we be them and we kind of harness them, we really start to open up and allow the flow of magic and miraculousness to like move into our space even more, move into our businesses even more, and really allow us to flourish in a big way. And so I this I'm probably doing another shorty today, but what I wanted to really invite you to with this is what if you really gave yourself the gift of experimenting with this? What is it like to give yourself time in your calendar, um, an hour, a day, a week, whatever it is. But you could start with an hour if it feels like a big stretch for you. And it's like, I'm not putting anything in this time. I'm not committing to anything. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to see what I feel like doing, And and the other thing that's really cool about when we have that kind of time and space, and it might be, I would really recommend more than an hour. I know for me, I like to kind of get into a little zone and, play. And if it's just an hour, it's sort of like not doesn't it stops feeling like much time. But start where you can start. If you can only grab an hour and see what that creates. Just make it an experiment, be curious about it. But we can get into this like flow of, like just playing with what's possible, like different creations. Like one of the things that I've really added in the past few years as I've explored this more is a lot more cooking. Like when I'm at home, I cook a lot more. And I've always enjoyed it. And for a while, I sort of thought I didn't enjoy it, but that was because it was something I had to do. I had to do it for my kids. They didn't want to eat what I wanted to eat. They didn't want to eat what I wanted to make. It was like the obligation of it, you know? And when I realized, oh, I actually really enjoy cooking from a space of creativity, that was a different thing. And one of the things that happened for me is I started to give myself more space, more time that was unstructured and unscheduled. Is at first I was like, I don't really know what to do. Like, because part of it was also, I don't want to be on my electronics during this time. So part of it was just like, um, yeah, like I don't really know what to do with this, because I was so used to working all the time and being on my technology and my like at this point my kids were older, they weren't, hanging out with me as much, but even when they were younger, it felt more like an obligation, like I needed to be there for them as their parent. um, and so it was like I had this phase of my life where I felt like everything was like my time wasn't mine at all. I was parenting, I was working, and this was when I really had to demand of myself, I require this. I require this time and space no matter what. And I actually would have to like go, sometimes I would have to like go far out ahead in my schedule and find a day that didn't have anything where I could block it off and go, this is a day for me. It's a me day. Um, and um, and then it just became more of like a habit, and my life changed. Like my kids are older now, and uh, I have a lot more space in my life just because of all the, how much it's changed, and I don't have family around. I even my husband lives in another state, so we're not together all the time. So I've created it and so that I do have a lot of alone time, which is really nurturing for me. But when I started to really like, I remember when I would have a day where I didn't have anything on my plate, and I literally would just be like, I don't know what to do. And I also made it significant. I was like, I need to be exploring creativity now, and I didn't know what to do. And then I just started to be like, you know what? I'm just not going to make this significant. Like, I'm just going to play and see what shows up. And I realized, one of the things I realized is I love to move my body. And so a lot of that time would be spent in movement. I mean, the past 2 days here, I've had this space and it's been like, I've been walking. I walked for 2 hours yesterday. I did an hour of bowspring movement. I lifted some weights. A lot of that time I enjoy spending moving my body, cooking, creating, and sometimes I even do some stuff for my business, but it's not because I have to. It's like, oh, there's inspiration here. And what I've found is that there's all these creative possibilities that start to spring up, and ideas and new things and new conversations. And none of it's uh, anything. It kind of comes out of left field. Like none of it is anything that I could like fabricate on my own, or make up on my own, or basically be like, yeah, this is, like I'm gonna sit down now. I'm gonna sit down and get creative. It's come out of the space, and so when we allow ourselves to have that silence, that space, there's a lot of creative juice that emerges that is very different. And I've been so surprised and I've had some really cool creative possibilities, and even like creations in my business that became, beautiful revenue streams that have come out of that. And and as they do, it's like um, they take me by surprise, you know. And those also tend to be these creations that it really like they're very easy to create. You know, it's kind of like the universe is like, you're finally listening. Now I can speak through you. You know, now I can give you these ideas that, you know, you need to be quiet sometimes to hear. You know, we distract ourselves so much with technology. We distract ourselves with, there's always a million things to tap into, to do, to listen to, people to talk to. And if you feel like you don't have people to talk to, you just pick up your phone, you go on social media, you play a YouTube video, you chat on, you know, Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you scroll mindlessly, you know. But none of that is really quality engagement. It's all distraction. And when we get out of the distraction and into the presence, into choosing and cultivating silence, choosing and cultivating stillness, choosing and cultivating relaxation. And we allow ourselves to have the discomfort of that because at first it's weird, it's uncomfortable, it's awkward. You're like, what the hell do I do now? You know, well, you explore, you know, you lower your barriers to yourself and you explore. And this to me is one of the most powerful ways to step into a completely different space of creation where things just come, they make their way into their world. They're like, hey, create me, or here's an idea, or here's an inspiration. And or just people come into our world and they're like, hey, I'd like to play with you, you know. And all of these things just, there's just this like sense of flow, really. And the amazing thing too is so much of what shows up for me in my days for me or my time for me become revenue streams too. Not because I'm like out there looking for how I can create more money, but just because there's revenue streams everywhere if we're willing to get present and listen and see what's available to us to choose that isn't necessarily available to anybody else. And so you may start to even pursue new interests that then become a new revenue stream. Like for me, bowstring movement was, you know, something, it is something that I very much do for me and my body. And I love sharing it with other people and I love teaching movement. And so it's become a revenue stream because I've studied it so much and where now I can teach it, it's become a revenue stream for me, not because I was out there looking for another way to make money, you know, but because my body was like, hey, can I please have something different? And then I followed the energy and I chose it and, you know, started to learn it and embody it and all these things. And was like, I really would like to share this with other people. It's been such a gift to me. So the organic evolution of business and the organic evolution of our revenue streams is something that is far more powerful than the forced um, pursuit of those things. And we allow that to occur by deepening into the space and the silence and the relaxation, the creative flow, and just, you know, kind of sometimes it feels almost like waiting, but you're not really waiting, but you're just exploring. And you got to relax, you know, you got to relax for all those things to show up. And when you do, it'll take you by surprise. It'll catch you kind of off guard. It won't be at the time when you think it's going to show up. It won't be in the way that you think it's going to show up. It won't look anything like you think it's going to, but that's the magic of it all. And then you just go for it. You know, you go for it, you pursue it, you choose it, and all kinds of things show up from there. So I wonder, you know, if you were willing to have the discomfort of, I don't know what I'm doing right now. It's really quiet around here. I don't have anything on my plate. I'm not going to tackle my to-do list, you know. If you're willing to have the exploration of that, give yourself the gift of it. Carve it out in your calendar if you need to, Put your phone away and explore you, what's fun for you, what's joyful for you, the beauty of what this world has to offer. I wonder what would become available for you as creation, as a business, and as revenue streams. And I am going to, this is a topic that we're going to really be exploring in the Generative Business Pods, which is a 6-month creation intensive that I do starting in August. And we are going to be really diving into it and exploring silence, exploring stillness, exploring relaxation as some of the most generative, creative energies that we can choose, and the revenue that comes from there, the possibilities that come from there, the joy, the ease, the glory that come from there. Very different, very cool. And you're invited to come and play. So as for same as last week where I mentioned this, and we don't have the page ready yet, but we will. I mean, it's there. You can go look at it, generativebusinesspods.com or heathernichols.com/businesspods. We're going to have the graphics and all that stuff very soon, but I believe you can even sign up already. We start on the 20th of August, and I'm really excited. It's a very cool space to explore, something very different. So come and play and go and chill out and see what gets created. Enjoy your time, enjoy your space, the silence, the relaxation, and the beauty. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me for the Creation of Living podcast. If this conversation was inspiring to you, share the love. To work privately with me or for info on my upcoming classes and retreats, go to heathernichols.com. Have a beautiful day, and remember that the world thrives when you do.